poppin', y'all? It is your boy Guard E3. And our bad, we running a little late tonight, but you know what? We're here now. It is time to talk football. Of course, joining me, just like, well, it seems like you see a lot of us on Wire to Wire, and that's great because this guy, got to consider him the ace of Wire to Wire at this point. He is the Prince of Production, Kyle Edwards. How you doing, Kyle?
I'm good. You know, like you said, a little shortened version, but still gonna have a lot of fun tonight.
Absolutely. I figure we might as well start with some fun, maybe off the field stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Tua decided, you know what I said was wrong. He apologized for calling out his teammates. And here's kind of my question. Doesn't it feel like it's a little too late for an apology? Like, that feels like once you open up that box that he did, it's too late to kind of put everything back in. So, to apologize, I kind of want to get your thoughts because, like, to me, it just kind of feels too late.
Yeah, like it feels like the whole Dolphins season has been like one big dysfunctional mess. Tua's been a big part of it with his post-game comments, you know, him going back at it with the media. Started a couple of weeks ago where the media is asking him about throwing like interceptions in bunches and Tua taking offense to that. It kind of seemed like this latest thing with Tua was like the kind of the end of it, because it's like once he did that, you start wondering about, is he questioning Mike McDaniel? Has Mike McDaniel completely lost the locker room and Tua was just kind of voicing his kind of stance on it? And now it's like we're getting trade rumors coming out of Miami. Like, this seems like it might be the start, even with this apology, like the start of like the tear down of this Dolphins group. So I feel like Tua should have known better than to say that to the media, number one. He's been around the league long enough. He should understand that saying something like that was going to lead to a response from people that he wasn't going to like. So the apology, while it may be all well and good for some teammates, I feel like others in that locker room have to look at Tua and just be like, we can't trust this guy to not go to the podium and air out stuff that should stay in-house. So I feel like it's too late and it shouldn't have happened in the first place.
Yeah, say that's kind of why. Like, I think a lot of these maybe younger quarterbacks maybe take note of it, because just kind of be careful what you say up there, because once you say something like that, you can't just apologize and simply undo it. A lot of distrust at that point. Say Brian Branch, he is suspended for a game. And you know what? Honestly, Kyle, I'm not going to lie. I'm shocked it was only one game. That was a pretty egregious melee that he started after the game.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know, like I said, it's just me, or like one game that does not feel like it's long enough.
Yeah, I mean, I guess my assumption was going to be a game or two. So if he got a game, if you felt like it should have been 2 games, I feel like I wouldn't necessarily argue against that. I feel like any suspension makes a lot of sense. I think Dan Campbell kind of let us know that he wasn't happy with it, and told everybody that it's something that's not going to happen again, everything like that. So I wonder, would Dan Campbell even do something where the first game he's eligible to come back, maybe he's not in the starting out in the defense when they first go out on the field? Like, would he do something like that as well to kind of show that he's not down for what Branch did? Because it was way out of line. I get it. Juju blocked him in the back or whatever, but you can't just be out here ripping helmets off and, swinging on people. Like, that's ridiculous.
Just imagine if we started melee anytime somebody got hit with like a slight, like a missed call. Like,
yeah,
the fighting would never stop.
Exactly.
The line would be brawling every play because it's holding on every play. We all know it.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, it's a good thing that the suspension got upheld. Honestly, I'm not even sure why you appeal it unless you really didn't want to miss the next game and you'd rather serve it the week after.
Yeah.
There was just no chance of that getting overturned. That was like that Jalen Hurts Hail Mary that he threw in that Super Bowl matchup against the Chiefs that fell like 30 yards short. Like, it's damn no chance.
That is kind of it was probably because it was Juju and Brian Branch is probably like the Instagram stars trying to start with me. Like, nah, I can't have that. So I do think that's probably part of it.
Yeah, speaking of one more little bit of off the field news, Micah Parsons has complained about the lack of calls. Which, to be fair, you'll see it quite often with not just him, a lot of these top edge rushers, that they'll almost be too overpowered to an extent that these linemen can get away with quite a bit of holding against them. So I guess my question to you, and not just kind of in a Micah sense, in an overall general sense, especially with these top tier edge rushers, do you think that maybe the O-line gets away with a little too much holding, or do you think it's officiated just fine?
I mean, look, if you're an edge rusher, you see tackles try to line up a little bit further back enough that they don't get the, legal formation. You see a lot of them jump the snap, and a lot of times if it's close enough, they allow it. So I guess if you're an edge rusher, you may feel like some things are working against you. But like you just said, if you wanted to call holding, you could call it on every play, and then these games would take forever to play. So some of it, I get his frustration. Some guys are craftier with it than others. And, you'll look after the game and be like, oh, where was Micah? How come he didn't, get any sacks or anything like that? And it could just be like, when you look at it, he kind of dealt with some things that just weren't called. So I think it's kind of, I guess, naive to think that the officials are going to call everything perfectly. So you also have to think like, Micah complaining about it, is it really going to change anything? Now we'll see if the next game he gets maybe a holding call or two working against him that he probably hasn't gotten in a couple of weeks. Then maybe he's onto something. Like for me, it's like you do what you can. The officials are going to call what they call. You just go out there and play your game.
No, fair enough. It's one of those things, right? Like there is some. I get his frustration. At the defensive end, I feel like you're supposed to be frustrated if they're missing calls.
Mm-hmm.
And overall, I really don't mind it half the time. But I will say, I hope they do tighten up a little bit because there is some like really egregious missed calls. Like,
yeah, that
poor guy was getting mugged last game against the Bengals, and they just weren't calling anything for him. So I completely get his frustration. And while for the most part, I would say I'm completely fine with the way, holding and everything's are officiated. I just hope they maybe keep an eye out for some of these more egregious ones because ticky-tack, whatever, but man, they miss on some egregious ones. And I'm just like, how in the world? You're standing right there. Your job is to judge the line.
Yeah. No, I can agree with that. If it's egregious, like you got to call it. But if it's like a little slight one, I think you can look the other way with that. But I mean, yes, PI is definitely a big one. Like sometimes when you're watching games, you feel like they're guessing on pass interference. And I think the way that call is and how damaging it is, because it's a spot foul, like you want them to be locked in on those calls. This is why I have said and keep saying I would not mind if the NFL went with the college rule and PI was just a 15-yard penalty. Because sometimes you're bailing out an offense with a sketchy pass interference call.
I wouldn't want to do that. Okay, my problem with the going to the college rule and the pro levels is it's always really simple, right? Mm-hmm. Like these guys can cover a lot of ground in a lot quicker, shorter time. Mm-hmm. But kind of my bigger problems is good. You know what good coaching is going to do? It's going to eliminate a lot of big plays. Why? You get beat 30 yards down the field. Anything over 15 yards, you get beat by a step or two, just tackle them.
True.
Just take him out.
Yeah.
Oh, well, PI 15 yards is better than 50, 60 yards. So that would be my concern about switching to the college rules is these NFL coaches and players are very smart. And, the first chance they get at first deep ball that it looks like that might beat them, they are even going to hesitate to just take the receiver to the ground. So I feel like they would have to find a way to address like that before anything. Otherwise, it might not work out as well at the next level.
Yeah. I guess if you have, I guess then you have to add in like degrees of pass interference, like you're standing like holding stuff like that with the ball in the air, okay, but yeah, just outright just tackling a guy because you get beat probably should be a little bit more of a penalty. But I see what you're saying. I do.
Oh yeah, it's gonna be a good week for games this week. Hey, look, you're in. What rule from college would you want in the NFL? You know what? Let's start off with you, Kyle. What rule from college would you want in the NFL?
I kind of like the 2 feet. 2 feet should be in bounds. I mean, to be honest with you, mine was the pass interference. Let it be 15 yards.
That's fair enough. Oh my goodness, Key. Look, that might make receivers too overpowered. These receivers are so good at getting 2 feet in. If they only had to get 1 foot in, it would lead to a lot more highlight reel plays. But oh my goodness, that would make sideline grabs almost like, I don't know, too easy for them.
So if you're going to do 1 foot, I would say go back to when corners were manhandling like wide receivers within the first couple of yards. Like, if we're going to do that, like, just bring that back. That is something I wish the NFL did not change, because I always liked that kind of back and forth with the corner and wide receiver, because now it's almost like corners feel helpless sometimes. And you're just hoping the quarterback doesn't recognize your side of the field and throw it your way.
Fair enough. Titans had a coaching change. Brian Callahan got canned. I'm sure nobody's more happy to hear that than Jory. Right. The only unfortunate part is this happened like 7 games too late. I'm not even sure how he made it to a second season. And even after that first game, I'm not even sure he made it out the locker room after the first game. So
that's fair. Yeah.
I'm excited to see who they bring in. And that'll be interesting, right? Like, do you bring in somebody who's maybe younger with a higher, ceiling, but is also a very risky hire, like they tried to do with Callahan, ironically? Take the unknown who potentially has the high ceiling, or do you maybe go after a more, veteran coach
like
that can
pick,
that can establish a culture?
Like, I wouldn't be opposed to another young, up and coming, innovative offensive mind. I wouldn't be against that, but I would say to be careful necessarily who you take from, because obviously Callahan and those guys were taken because of Burrow, Zach Taylor with the Bengals and all that, and it hasn't worked out. And what we're learning is Joe Burrow covers for a lot of deficiencies. So I think they need to be smart, with which staff they go and pluck from. That's the only thing I would say. But I wouldn't mind somebody who's offensively innovative.
I saw somebody go, hear me out. The Titans should hire Mike McCarthy. I'm like, I think we're getting too safe with that one.
Yeah. Don't do that.
I like, if you want to do a veteran coach, go for it. But at the end of the day, too, you can't just pick too safe of a hire where it's just going to completely stagnate your franchise either.
Yeah.
Which would have about a similar effect as hiring the wrong young coach. I need a leader, not a QB guru.
That's fair. Yeah. I mean, I think the leader part is a big thing, especially when you're dealing with a young quarterback and some young pieces. Like you want somebody that they feel like they can develop and build with. So the leader part would probably be the more important attribute for me. So yeah, I don't disagree with you there, Jory.
So maybe someone like Brian Flores?
I mean, would not hate that one. Obviously, you would want to know his plans offensively because he's obviously a defensive guy, but he's a guy who would create that culture. You would not have to worry about that.
I think a really good offensive coordinator is going to be on the market next year. And ironically, hear me out, what if, and you kind of touched on the name, what if it was like Brian Flores and he brought in Mike McDaniels as an offensive coordinator? Like, Mike McDaniels is not a good head coach. However, he's always been like a very good offensive mind. Like, that's never been in question with him.
Mm-hmm.
So I wouldn't be shocked if maybe the Titans went that direction, tried to court maybe someone like McDaniels as an offensive coordinator while maybe going with a defensive-minded head coach who's just a leader. So I wouldn't hate it.
Yeah.
Like, say I know he'd get a lot of hate, like I said, with when it comes to McDaniels because of how his as long as his speeches don't infect Cam, yeah. I know he got a lot of hate because the way this Dolphins tenure is about to end, but I think he's still a better offensive mind than we give him credit for. There's just more going on than that in Miami.
Right, but at least like in your structure, Flores is the guy who oversees everything and makes sure guys are like falling in line and playing a certain way. All you would task McDaniel with is, look, that young quarterback Cam Ward, get the most out of him and get this offense moving the ball. That's all you gotta do. You don't have to worry about anything else. Just do that. I think it could be a good pairing there.
I'll give him credit. He was doing a good job with Tua before the CTE took over. So
yeah, Tua just starts throwing just baffling pick after baffling pick. Like that's crazy.
There's only so much you can do when your quarterback can't make it past their first read.
Yeah.
Also, speaking of games tonight,
mm-hmm.
we got the Icy Hot Bowl, as it was so greatly put to it. That was a fantastic name for this game because we got two 40-year-old quarterbacks, Joe Flacco versus Aaron Rodgers, Steelers, Bengals. This is an iconic rivalry. And I know a lot of people are going to pick the Pittsburgh Steelers to win this one, but a divisional game on a Thursday night, oof, that just gives me a weird vibe already. So, Kyle, who do you got tonight? Is it going to be Pittsburgh or is it going to be Cincinnati? Which old man is taking this one home?
I mean, you look at this one, T.O. used to say, get your popcorn ready. This one's like, get your prune juice ready, fire up some Matlock, and let's go. Look, I think I'm kind of like you. I feel like it's too obvious to go with the Steelers here. Something tells me Flacco's going to have some like vintage night, and they somehow pull this one out. Like if you look at everything, the Steelers are having a much better season. Rodgers is playing well enough for them to, win and top that division. But it's Thursday night. We have seen some weird games on Thursday, and I feel like it continues. I'm kind of there. I kind of think the Bengals find a way.
No, absolutely. I completely agree with that. You know what? That's the challenging part, right? It feels like it's a weird game. I'm not going to bet against Aaron Rodgers, so I'll stick with this obvious choice, the Steelers. But like you said, at the end of the day, it's a divisional game. That's already weird enough. Thursday night football, all right, that's really weird. We saw a divisional game go exactly how we didn't expect last week when the Patriots knocked off the Bills. So at this point, who knows? Anything can happen. For the Bengals, it's just the game plan has got to be get Chase and Higgins involved early and often.
Yes.
That felt like one of the biggest flaws that the Bengals had last week against the Packers. They just they got them involved, but it was like they got them involved in the second half when you're already down like 3 touchdowns.
That's probably one of the biggest flaws.
So I'm just I was so lost, baffled by that game plan. So I think the big key tonight is simple. You pay your wide receivers big bucks, just get them involved.
And I think Hendrickson is out tonight, so
he is.
That's going to be for a defense that isn't great anyway. The one fact you were hoping for is maybe your pass rush could get to Rodgers, who obviously doesn't move as well as he once did, I should say. But now with no Hendrickson, we'll see what that effect has on that defensive front.
No, fair enough. We just looks like Joe Burrow is trending towards a mid-December return. That's our latest update that I just saw for him. So
they better be either in the divisional race or a wild card race by then, because otherwise might be wasting time bringing them back.
That was going to be my question to you is like, do you think by mid-December there's even going to be a point in bringing back Joe Burrow? Because it feels like their season's just cooked at that point.
I think it depends on their opponent tonight. Because I think the other teams in this division are waiting to see if the Steelers really are that good of a team. We already hear it. Everybody's like, hey, wait for Lamar to come back in a couple of weeks after the bye. They're only saying that because they don't truly believe the Steelers are good enough to run away with it. So if the Steelers are going to allow everybody to hang around, then why not? Burrow comes back mid-December. If you just win 3-4 games or something to close out the season, maybe they steal a divisional crown.
Yeah, but I think it's slightly different with Baltimore, though, because with Baltimore, it's like, okay, Lamar Jackson's back next week. The hardest part of the schedule is over. So, a hot stretch is, while seemingly improbable with the way that defense is playing, it's not impossible. Asking the Bengals to hold up all the way until mid-December without Joe Burrow, at that point, it just feels like, all right, we're 1-9. Joe's ready to come back, but at that point, what are we really accomplishing here?
Right. If it gets to that point, there's 0 point whatsoever. And once again, I get that the tough part of Baltimore's schedule is behind them. But when you're looking at this fact from Jory here, isn't that what kind of keeps lesser teams in games? Is the fact that their defense has been so bad. And we've seen Baltimore in late game situations, obviously against better teams, they haven't necessarily pulled through. And the way that this season's going, teams that we thought were going to be bad are looking a lot better than we thought. The Panthers are sitting here at 3-3 and are looking like maybe they could steal one. The Falcons just beat Buffalo, and that Falcons team looked about as good as I could remember both sides of the ball. So I don't think Baltimore's in a position where they can just kind of count wins just because Lamar comes back, because their offense was still kind of jagged with him because they just don't have an identity anymore.
Yeah, no, fair enough. It'll I said, I don't. That's why I said I don't see it, but I understand why people have hope for maybe the Ravens bounce back in the second half, but I don't see it. I think their season's just kind of cooked, and even if they do sneak into the playoffs, what hope have they given me that they can beat these top tier teams? Because anytime I watched them face a top tier team this year, they've just gotten utterly embarrassed and just walked over.
Right. Unless they're banking on the AFC playoff just being other unproven teams, then I don't know how much faith you should put into them.
Oh, fair enough. Say, how about your team? This week you got a fun matchup. It's the Vrabel Bowl. We got Vrabel and facing the Titans.
Mm-hmm.
Are you worried at all about Tennessee? And the reason I ask that is not so much necessarily how they've been playing, but we all know what happens a lot of the times that a coach gets fired and the team seems to play a lot more motivated. So
Mm-hmm.
Are you worried at all about the Titans maybe just being a lot harder of a game than you expected?
Absolutely. And the weakness, I would say, with the Patriots offense is kind of their interior offensive line, where you have Jared Wilson, who's a rookie at left guard. Bradbury is a average center, and then right guard you have Onwenu. Jeffrey Simmons patrolling the middle of the defensive line for Tennessee does worry me. Now, the part that does make me feel confident is Drake May has kind of shown that he's able to kind of slip sacks and extend plays out. And then at that point, you feel like you like May throwing the ball downfield a little bit. But yeah, Tennessee defense does have me worried a little bit. And then I guess offensively, like you said, for all we know, Callahan getting out of there, that offense gets like some new energy. And Cam Ward has shown he will make some big throws. And that is something you definitely have to think about. Yeah, Mike versus Mike. Yeah.
Yeah. No,
Yeah.
and that's fair enough. I like you, Devondre still.
I mean, that is true. Look, if the two of them were there in the middle, like I said, with that interior O line, I would be a lot more worried. But Simmons himself is enough of a problem for me.
It almost feels like the most frustrating part about this Titan season so far. You can see the talent. It's there. They have talented pieces.
Mm-hmm.
It just goes to show how important like good coaching is.
Absolutely.
Say, I know we got a matchup against the Cardinals this week. And look, I think the Packers should win this one rather easily. But if I know Green Bay enough, this is going to come down to like a walk-off field goal win for no reason at all.
I mean, what's your biggest worry about the Cardinals, though?
My biggest worry about the Cardinals? I'd say I think our biggest problem with what we've had so far is the kind of in the quick pass game.
Okay.
We played a lot of zone, and we've been playing a lot more off coverage since Devontae Wyatt went out.
Mm-hmm.
And that's where like the Bengals had a lot of success, and that's where the Browns had some success, and that's where the Cowboys really had success, is just snap the ball, get it out before the pressure can get home. So that's kind of my concern, because the Cardinals do have weapons that they can exploit in that short to intermediate game. Overall, I'm not overly worried about the Cardinals. I think we should beat them rather easily. But if I had to pick one worry, it's that short to intermediate game, because that's been the one point of attack where people have been able to get stuff going against this Packers defense, which, like I said, has been stout outside of one game against Dallas, which Dak was just absurd.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, look, the Cardinals are a team that look, I think that loss to Tennessee took a lot of their fight away. So if they go into this game against Green Bay and they find themselves down like 10-14 early, they don't seem like the bunch that will necessarily stay in the fight and try to come back. They may just wait for the clock to run out and just get out of there. So I think a good start for Green Bay could go a long way in beating Arizona.
Yeah, I'm excited for the second half of Green Bay season here. The scary part is, we're going to get some key pieces back. Obviously, we've had our like 3 different offensive linemen dealing with injuries, so hopefully they can heal up. But it seems like we're going to be getting Christian Watson back at some point this year to add to our wide receiver room. Like, I'm really looking forward to the second half of the season. It's lining up. Toyotathon's about to start soon, so Jordan Love can hit his other level.
Yeah.
Which, to me, he's already been playing at the level of, at minimum, a top 5 quarterback. So, overall, I'm really eager about the second half of this Packers season. I don't know how they'll find a way to, make me sweat it out a little bit, I'm sure, but it's going to be a fun ride.
Yeah. I mean, I think the way it's shaping out, we're going to get a lot of good, like, races and everything in the second half of the season. Look, the NFC West looks like a 3-team race. The NFC North, you're looking at least the top 2 teams there, but the Bears are trying to make themselves kind of interesting. The NFC South, what are the Panthers? Like, can the Panthers stay in it? But the Bucs clearly are the better team. And look, Atlanta coming off the Buffalo win, how do they use that momentum? And the NFC East, I guess as long as the Eagles are in this weird space that they're in, can the Commanders take advantage of that? The Jackson Dart experience, like how does that shape things? And the AFC, we already talked about. Like, the AFC is a jumbled mess right now of, hey, the Colts have the best record, but are they really that good? Like, when does Daniel Jones' Cinderella slipper fall off? You have New England leading the AFC East because Buffalo's hit a little skid, and Sean McDermott's talking about using the bye to like reset. So there's a lot. The Chiefs, do they actually end up winning the West after all of this, where a lot of people counted them out? There's a lot of good storylines to the second half of the season.
I could see it. Chiefs also are just seemingly starting to heat up offensively.
Mm-hmm.
Got Worthy back, so say Rashee Rice is coming back.
Yep.
So I could see them hitting their stride here soon. Hey, you know what? This week though could be a big week. Look, if the Browns get up big on the Dolphins, which is very possible, or if maybe Dylan Gabriel struggles, maybe this is the week where we see Shador and shut everybody up finally.
I don't know if the world's ready for that. Because the minute he steps out on the field, that section of the fan base that you've been wanting to keep quiet all this time is just going to get louder because now he's on the field. I don't know if I'm ready for that this week. I'm hoping Gabriel plays well enough. Give me another couple of weeks before we start thinking about that.
You know what? I will say it. I just hope that Kevin Stefanski actually puts Dylan Gabriel in a position to succeed this week.
Yeah.
Did you see how many dropbacks he had against the Steelers?
Yes. I think I vaguely remember that game.
He passed the ball 52 times, and he dropped back a total of 58 times. Mind you, the final score is 23-9, so that's not a game where you have to abandon the run.
Yeah.
Like, a 2-score game, you can still run the ball down 2 scores. That's fine.
Mm-hmm.
It really felt like that Kevin Stefanski just completely did not put, Dylan Gabriel in a position to succeed at all. Like, volume passer is not what Dylan Gabriel ever was going to be. Mm-hmm. I'm sorry you had to go through with that, Jory.
Yeah. Battle of 2 left-handed quarterbacks. Don't see that a lot.
Yeah. What's good, Sajin?
Yeah, what's up, Sajin? It's. I think the weird thing is, didn't the Browns draft like Dylan Sampson, who's supposed to be like a really good running back? They have Judkins, who they got out of Ohio State. Why are you asking Gabriel to drop back that many times? That's where some of these OCs, you just don't get, like, you just don't understand why they do the things that they do. Like, to do that, that's like a Madden thing. You play Madden, somebody goes down like 10 points, they automatically just go like 5 wide and just air it out. It's the NFL. You don't need to do that. I agree with you. Just because you're down 2 scores, you can still run the ball and be balanced and still come back in a game like that.
Hey, look, I'm old school, man. I get down 2 scores in Madden. That just means I'm not running the rock enough. Gotta up my game.
Exactly. I'm the same way.
You know what? I did get into some dumb debates though too, so I get it. I had somebody try to tell me that OSU could beat the Cleveland Browns in a game of football. I'm like, dog, let that one go already. It's over. And the funniest part was,
you get that every year. Because basketball last year was like, oh, Duke could beat the Wizards. It's like, come on.
Well, the worst part is, like, the logic was so off base, and he goes, oh, all the offensive line would have to do is buy 4 seconds. I'm like, against Myles Garrett-led defensive line,
Hey,
you
good luck with that one.
really think they're going to buy 4 seconds? Like, they would be lucky to get 2. And I'm
Right.
not even, like, it's my least favorite debate ever to have. Like, there's a reason that they're college and not in the pros quite yet.
Mm-hmm.
That game would be over by halftime.
Yeah. Yeah. But that debate happens all the time. Like I said, it's going to happen when college basketball and the NBA start. It's just a way of passage in sports commentary now.
Oh, gotta get those clickbait hot takes. You know that.
Yep.
Say whatever will get the views.
Mm-hmm.
Say, are there any other games you really look forward to catching this week?
Really?
Colts Chargers is
see.
interesting.
Yeah. I guess that is one. And I feel like for me, it's mainly, with the Colts. I get that they're leading the AFC. I just don't know how much I should buy in right now. I'm still a little skeptical. Yeah, they have Jonathan Taylor. We all know Jonathan Taylor, what he does. It's just the Daniel Jones part. I can't wrap my head around him playing good football all season. And for all we know, maybe this is like his Sam Darnold Vikings year, where he's good up until like week 13, and then when the playoffs are right around the corner, maybe he falls off. I don't know, but I still need to kind of see it from the Colts. So if the Colts could go in and beat a good Chargers team, that could go a long way for me.
Yeah, absolutely. Danny Dimes. That would be big for him. Say, I'll give him all the credit in the world, though. Every year there seems to be that one reclamation project, and this year Danny Dimes is just turning his career around. Last year it was Sam Darnold. We saw it happen with Baker Mayfield. Pretty much every Carolina quarterback, but this time it is now Danny Dimes. So I'm curious. It almost makes you think like, all right, who's it going to be next year? Who's the flyer that's going to turn into a top 10 quarterback next year?
I mean, yeah, there will be some good candidates for sure. Because all you do is look at the quarterback that underperformed this year, probably go somewhere else in free agency, and you're like, whatever. That's not really something to think about. And then they have a breakout year. I will say the other game that does have my attention, Falcons-Niners. Because I think the Falcons have kind of gotten some eyes on them after the Buffalo win. How do they, spin that against a 49ers team that they just keep finding ways to win? All of a sudden, Kendrick Bourne is uncoverable. Like he's out here with 140-something yards a game like the last couple of weeks or something. And it's just like, will the Falcons have a letdown because of that win at home? And this one is on the road. We all know the Falcons on the road are not the same team.
You know what the funny part is? They probably will. I don't even know what the Falcons are. Like, on one hand, they beat the Bills, and that's great.
Mm-hmm.
On the other hand, I watched them get 30 bombed and shut out by the Panthers. So, like, what even are you, Atlanta?
But that was another game on the road. That's what I'm saying. Like, at some point, the Falcons need to be what they are on that turf in Atlanta outside on the road against some team, because otherwise they'll run into the same problems they have the last few years. If they even do make the playoffs, they go on the road somewhere and they lose or something like that. So if they could beat the Niners on the road, maybe for the psyche of the team, it could do something for them.
No, absolutely. That would be that'll be a good one to watch. The Falcons need to be consistent.
Yes, absolutely.
Completely agree, Jory. They absolutely do. There's a lot of fun games this week. Eagles, Vikings. See if the Eagles can get a little bit of a bounce back going here.
Mm-hmm.
So overall, it's going to be either consistently good or consistently bad. It's the Falcons, though. Don't they kind of do this every year? They're just like consistently mediocre.
Yeah.
Like they'll find a way to be as close to 500 as possible.
Yep.
Like it's funny. Like I feel like if they started out 9-0, they would just somehow end up 9-8 to close out the
Right.
year. So
Yeah.
say no, but that being said, Kyle, that's really all I had for us today. Is there anything else you wanted to discuss before we get up on out of here?
No, not really. Nice little quick show, but definitely got a lot in and got through everything. I know Sideline was in the chat. I will say Seahawks Texans, interesting on Monday night. Last time we saw the Texans, it looked pretty good, but was that just a product of Baltimore? And they have a real test against Seattle because I love that Seattle defense and Sam Darnold, that offense, looking pretty good as well.
Say Sajid, if you're putting money on the Titans, call the number, dude.
Yeah, that's a tough one.
No, yeah, that's no, fair enough. Hear that, Jory? You owe him some lunch money for him taking your Titans.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, them against the Texans. I kind of want to see where the Texans are.
It feels like the Texans are still like just a very inconsistent team.
Mm-hmm.
I guess I'm just not moved by like doing well against the Ravens defense because
Right.
at this point, who doesn't? Like the
Exactly.
Ravens, like if you dominate the Ravens or Cowboys defense, I'm like, okay, but at this point, like who hasn't done that?
Mm-hmm. That's what I'm saying. Seahawks defense is a step up in competition for sure.
So yeah, so biggest key to that game, can they keep CJ Stroud protected? I don't think it happened. So give me the Seahawks in that one.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean that's all I had to say.
Yeah, hey, make sure you guys tune into the And One podcast tonight, 8 p.m. Central. We're gonna have Kyle joining us. We're gonna have a couple of it should be a good match. Completely agree with you, Sajin.
Mm-hmm.
Sounds like we're gonna have Kyle, Mo, Coach Dante. It's gonna be a full house. We're gonna give you our our bold predictions and just talk about the start of the regular season, which is fast approaching next week. It's gonna be fantastic. That being said, we thank you guys for tuning in, and we hope you guys enjoy the rest of your night.